What's up guys, and welcome to an exclusive episode of Pokemon Origins featuring the Alola starter Pokemon. I'm doing an exclusive one here. I haven't done Origins in forever, but I figured I'll do a little one on the starters because why not? I might do one every now and again. So, we're just going to jump in, hit the like button if you're liking this video, because it's just something I thought I'd do. You don't do Origins that often nowadays, unfortunately, so I thought I'd do one for Alola starters at least. So first up today we are going to look at Rowlet. It's number 722 in the National Pokédex, most likely, and is in Japanese, its name is Mokuro. It is the grass krill Pokemon and a grass flying type, only the second sort of starter Pokemon to have two types, the last one being Bulbasaur back in Generation 1. Rowlet is 0.3 meters or 1 foot tall, so it's a fairly small owl, and it weighs 1.5 kilograms or 3.3 pounds. Taking a quick look at the models from Rowlet in Sun and Moon, obviously we haven't seen its shiny model quite yet, so I can't give you any indication on that, but we can see in its regular form it is basically brown and green. Evolution wise, again, we have no clues on the evolution chain of Rowlet, but we can assume it will evolve into some form of medium owl, and then the final evolution will either be a large regal owl, or, as some people have speculated, a griffin of sorts. So, Rowlet is a small, round avian or bird Pokemon. As we said, it's mainly brown and green. It has brown feathers down its sides as well as a white underside, and you can see in its sort of models, you can see the underside, or a section of the underside of its wings, is also green. It has two short legs, very short legs, and you can only see the claws here, but its feet have two front-facing claws and one back-facing, like a lot of birds do. It has two green leaves in the shape of a bow tie in the middle of its chest. Many people have speculated the bow tie, at least some people have even said bikini or bra. Bit weird, I know. But there are also several green leaves on its back as it's sort of a small tail, just sort of poking out at the bottom of its feather, bottom of its coat, down at the bottom, a few small green leaves acting as a tail. It has a white sort of facial area with two black eyes, with some black eyes with white pupils, as well as a large beak in the centre, which is mainly white, and then a small sort of browny orange section on the lower half. Some information we know about Rowlet already is that it can attack silently from the sky and swoops down to get its prey. When it gets close to its prey, it actually attacks with kicks and sort of scratches in it with its claws, so it's a very violent Pokemon, not that you would actually guess. It can also attack using razor sharp leaves down from under its coat. There's one of these being leafage, razor leaf possibly, who knows. And Rowlet can also see in pitch black darkness, so it's a very effective hunter at night. Its head can also rotate 180 degrees around, and because of this it often looks at its trainer during battle. In terms of Rowlet's origin and what it's based on an owlet, basically, a baby owl, because they're quite small, and obviously it's an owl and it's quite a small owl, so who knows. But it may also draw inspiration, in its evolution line, may draw inspiration from the Popplio, which is a species of owl unique, or endemic is the actual term, to Hawaii, meaning they only live on Hawaii. That's the only place you can find them in the world, because Hawaii is a very sort of isolated area. So it's quite unique, and hence the Alola region being based on Hawaii means that the Popplio is likely a strong sort of basis for the owl line. The bow tie on Rowlet's chest may also be taken from a circus ringmaster, as a sort of a trend you might see as you go through these starters here is that they could be related to a sort of a circus troupe. And obviously we'll explain more about that when we get on there, but the bow tie in the centre means Rowlet may be based off of a circus ringmaster to act as sort of the leader of the troupe. So if we move on to the origin of Rowlet's name, where its Japanese and its English names come from, well, the Japanese name Mokuro is a combination of moku, meaning wood, and fukuro, which means owl. So basically wood owl is what Mokuro is. The English name Rowlet, however, isn't as tied to trees. We have a combination of round and owlet, because it's a round Pokemon and it's based on an owlet. It may also incorporate ruffle or rowan though, ruffle being a link to its bird-like nature and its feathers, rowan being a type of tree, possibly being the link to Rowlet, because Rowlet sounds better than what? Birchlet. Doesn't really sound as good, does it? The French name for Rowlet as well, if we look at this quickly, is Brindibou, and this is a combination of brindi, meaning twig, and hibu, meaning owl. So basically, twig owl. Japanese is wood owl, French is twig owl. It's a similar pattern for the rest of the languages too. Finally for Rowlet, if we take a quick look at its size, as I mentioned, it stands at 0.3 meters or 1 foot tall, making it a pretty small Pokemon. You can see compared to Ash and me, you know, a 6 foot tall person in a lower gear now. You can see Rowlet there is pretty small, doesn't even come up to Ash's knee, it's small, your ankle sort of size, so it's basically the same size as an owl in our world. It's small for the Pokemon world, but it's, you know, basically the right size for our world. But that is the grass type starter Rowlet, so if we then move on to the fire type starter from the Alola region, Litten. Litten is number 725 in the Pokédex, we can assume, and its Japanese name is Niabi. It is the Fire Cat Pokemon and a pure fire type. It stands at 0.4 meters or 1 foot 4 inches, so slightly taller than Rowlet. However, we're not sure whether this is sort of height from, you know, paw to the top of its ears, or whether it's the length of the body, for example. Weight wise, it weighs 4.3 kilograms or 9.5 pounds. Taking a quick look at Litten's models, you can see again we obviously don't have the shiny here, so we don't know any idea about that, but we can see in Litten's normal form, its regular form, it's basically black and red. Evolution line, once again we have no clues on what this will be like for Litten, but we can assume bigger cats basically, middle evolution being some form of, you know, a larger cat, and then its final evolution being possibly a fire tiger, a fire lion, or something similar to that. So, Litten is a small quadruped Pokemon, 4 legs, and it's covered, as I mentioned just now, in black fur. It does however have these red markings on its face, as well as, I'm calling them whiskers, but they are also tufts of fur on its cheeks, as well as other markings down around its legs. It has red eyes, you can see in the centre there we have red eyes, and its sclera are yellow, so sort of the backing of the eyes are yellow, but the actual eyes are red. Litten also has these obviously 4 legs, they're quite short, and it also has small paws on the end of them. Each of these paws has 3 toes to them, you know, 2 lines in each paw, 3 toes. So what do we know about Litten? Well, it's logical in nature, it's very, I don't want to say cold-hearted, but it doesn't show much emotion on the surface, but it can be passionate. And, you know, not showing emotions, it remains cool-headed in battle and doesn't show these emotions in battle, but can be passionate underneath. It attacks with flaming hairballs made from its fur, which is rich in oils and is quite flammable as well, so it can sort of, you know, clean itself and get this fur and then shoot these flaming hairballs out at the enemy. And also when it decides it has to shed its fur, it can do so by just lighting itself on fire and burning up in a blaze, like any fire type Pokemon should. What's the origin of Litten? Well, simply it's based on a kitten, we can sort of see that. It may be sort of more specifically based on a tabby cat kitten because it sort of resembles it slightly more, but a kitten, you know, in general makes more sense. The cat basis as well might link into this circus troupe idea, in that sometimes in the circus you have tigers or lions performing acts, so it might link into circus cats there and be sort of the performer or one of the performers of the circus troupe. Moving on to the naming for Litten, its Japanese name, Niabi, is a combination of Nia, meaning meow, hence, you know, cats go meow, but they also go nya, so it makes some sort of sense, and Tabby, so basically meow tabby, so, you know, cat stuff there. But it also might include he for the sort of the sound, which means fire, so fire cat, fire tabby, you guys, it makes sort of sense there. The English name, Litten, is obviously a combination of lit, as in to light, you know, I lit it, or little, meaning, you know, little, and kitten. So it's basically a lit kitten or a little kitten. So, you know, basically similar, relating to cats once more. Then the German name for Litten, which is Flammeow, is a combination of flam, meaning flame, and meow, meaning meow. So very similar there again. Flame meow, flame cat. You guys get the idea there. So then before we move on to our final Pokemon for today, let's have a look at the size of Litten. As I mentioned, it's slightly bigger than Rowlet, but I think that's the length of its body, so it's about the same size as Rowlet really. And you can see here, it's about the same size as like a normal cat sort of thing, you know, almost coming up to Ash's knee, although this image of Litten isn't the best to use, of course, because it's a different angle, but, you know, about the same size as your normal cat. So again, similar to, you know, cats in our lives, but a bit small for Pokemon, and of course its evolutions will change that. So we then have our final Pokemon for today, the last of the Alola starters, Popplio. Popplio will likely be number 728 in the National Pokédex, and its Japanese name is Ashimari. It is the sea lion Pokemon and a pure water type once again. It stands at 0.4 meters or 1 foot 4 inches, so the same size as Litten, or possibly the same length, we don't know, but it weighs slightly more at 7.5 kilograms or 16.5 pounds. Looking at Popplio's models from Sun and Moon, you can see again the shiny is not available, but its normal model it's blue, you know, it's a water type, it's blue, makes a lot of sense. Then for the evolution line, evidently we don't have information on this again, but it's likely that Popplio will grow up into a slightly bigger seal line and maybe go on to 2 feet. We don't quite know yet, it really depends on typing. So, what do we know, or what does Popplio look like to start off? Well, it's a small pinniped Pokemon, pinniped being sort of the class of Pokemon, class of animal it's based off of, and it's primarily blue in colour. However, it does have a white snout, on its snout, and some small flipper markings on its front flippers. It has a round pink nose as well on the end of the snout, and also small black whiskers coming off of the snout too. As well as having the main body being a blue colour, it has this nice frilly blue, I'm calling it a collar, it could be a frill of some sort, around its neck, which is a slightly lighter blue. And it also has these 4 flippers, 2 on its front with these white markings, as well as 2 smaller ones acting as feet on its back. As well as this, it has 2 large oval shaped black eyes on its face, as most Pokemon do. What information do we have on Popplio? Well, we know it can swim at speeds exceeding 25 miles per hour, which is pretty fast, and obviously it's better at swimming than it is on land movement, moving around on its back flippers basically. It can also snort out balloons made of water and use them as a very creative battle strategy, obviously flinging them in the opponents possibly, and using them to also perform acrobatics and stunts, which could help out its quest in the battle. It's also frivolous and hard working, and has a determined spirit as such, so it's a very determined Pokemon. Rowlet we have no information on its personality, but we know Litten is sort of like cold, down to point, but determined, and obviously Popplio again very similar, determined as well, but it could probably have some fun as well bouncing around on those water balloons. So what's the origin of Popplio's design? Well, as we know from its Pokemon species name, it's based on a sea lion. Not a seal, a sea lion. But more specifically a sea lion pup, being sort of the very first of the stage. Likely the middle evolution at least will be a slightly larger sea lion or something related to that. Sea lions are also known for performing tricks, not necessarily in the circus, but obviously at stuff like water parks, water worlds, stuff like that, aquariums maybe, stuff like that. So that's how this may again link into the circus troupe idea once more. So then the naming for Popplio, where does it come from? Well, its Japanese name Ashimari is a combination of Ashika meaning sea lion and Mari meaning ball. So basically sea lion ball, or basically combining the sea lion aspect of its design as well as with the fact that it can play around with balls of water. It might also include marine as the second half of its name as well, instead of Mari. Basically sea lion, marine being related to water and being a water type could fit in there, but both ball and marine do work there. The name Popplio is a slightly more complicated one, because the first half of its name may come from pup, as in sea lion pup, pop as in to pop these balls, or Poppo, which is Hawaiian for ball, hence Mari was used in the Japanese name, might be similar here, and obviously we're in Hawaii for Alola, and obviously sea lion, the Lee. So we have pup, pop, or Poppo. Poppo most likely being sort of the main one because we are in Hawaii for Alola, so it makes a lot of sense. Then we have also the French name to look at, which is Otaquin, and this is a combination of Otari, which means sea lion, and then Taquin, which means playful. As we know, Popplio is quite playful with its balls of water. So playful sea lion ball, stuff like that, pretty similar to Popplio's name there. Before we finish up today's video, however, we have one thing to look at last, and that is Popplio's size. Now we know it's 0.4 meters or 1 foot 4 inches. Again, whether this is sized from sort of like its sitting position to its head, or the actual whole length of its body, we don't know this, but it's a pretty similar approximation to Litten and Rowlet as well, fairly similar size. Again, you can see the head just coming about to Ash's knee if you were to go like that, so it's a fairly small Pokemon, smaller than sea lions in real life however, but I'm sure its evolutions will change that. But that is going to be it for Popplio there, and that is it for this special edition of Pokemon Origins. If you would like to see more Pokemon Origins, i.e. on any normal Pokemon we've seen already, or if you would like me to cover the new Sun and Moon Pokemon that get released, for example we had Nekawala as well as Iwanko, weird name, revealed the other day. If you would like me to cover that, those two Pokemon, and sort of go around those origins and stuff, let me know down below, and I can cover Sun and Moon Pokemon as they are revealed. Let me know what you want to see down below, basically. But for now, this is going to be it for me for today. I'll be seeing you next time. Thank you for watching. Goodbye, my friends.